Spirit 105.3. Is this the guy who sings The King is Alive?
This is him. What's up?
You are Jordan Feliz, your new song. Oh, man. You couldn't possibly squeeze one more ounce of hope into it. It is so chock full. Jordan, how much fun is it to sing that song?
Oh, man, it's so much fun. Man, I don't even know how to describe. I guess, like, the best way to describe it is been, like, the most excited I've ever been to, like, release any new music has been this song, just because the message is just all about hope. And, you know, one day my kids got home from school and my little girl and my little boy were playing, and my little boy had asked me, he was like, Daddy, I want to hang out with Jesus. And I was like, you know, Jesus is as alive today as he was whenever he lived on this planet. And I told him that, and it was like him and my little girl both kind of got so jacked up about that idea. And it just made me so excited to see them get so excited.
Wow.
And to just kind of see that, like, that fire just kind of explode in them. It was like, man, like, that's exactly how it made me feel, just watching them get ignited, you know? And I'm like, we need to try to, like, put this in a song, that feeling of, like, joy and hope and promise and all this other stuff. And so that's kind of how this song came to be. And also, my little girl got to sing on this song with me, which has been so special. Yeah, it's just been such a fun one, and I'm so glad you're loving on it.
Well, I can't tell you how much fun I'm having singing it. I'll catch myself, just like doing stuff around the house, putting the napkins away. The praises don't stop. The devil's been dropped. I mean, I am just in the best mood all the time, every time it pops in my head.
Yay! That makes me so happy.
Oh, it's just wonderful. So, Jordan, I want to ask you, what is your Jesus story? I mean, like, how did he change your life? The King is alive. That kind of changes everything, doesn't it?
Yeah, for me, I came to the Lord when I was 8. Got saved, and then when I was 17, I rededicated my life after really diving in, after my parents really challenged me, because I started excelling in, like, science a lot in high school. A lot of what, like, advanced biology teaches, it doesn't really coordinate with what you learn on Sunday morning, especially for a 17-year-old. It's a little confusing, and so my mom really laid out the challenge. She was like, listen, I love that you're excelling in academics, but at the same time, she's like, I feel like if you put 1/3 of the time that you're putting into your studies, if you put 1/3 of that time into reading your Bible, you'd be able to figure these answers out on your own. And that was just a big challenge from Mama Feliz, and I was like, all right, I hear you, I'm doing it. And so I dug into my Bible that year, and I rededicated my life to Jesus. And I had a lot of really amazing spiritual mentors around me. And I had 2 youth pastors that really spoke into my life. And I kind of just went full send in with my relationship with Jesus. And it's been, an absolute joy ever since. And, just getting to worship and remind people that, throughout life, whatever you're going through today, whatever you're going to be heading into, or whatever your past has looked like, man, the King is alive. Jesus is on the throne, and that's our hope. That's the promise. And, the resurrection isn't something that we should just be commemorating on Easter Sunday. It's something that shifts our faith every single day.
Boom. And I feel like every time I hear you sing now, I'm going to be like, thank you, Lord, for Mama Feliz. I just love saying that.
Yes, let's go.
That's so awesome. Okay, because your song brings so much joy, I'm wondering, Jordan, what else is bringing you joy in your life right now?
Oh, man. I think time with my family
Yes.
is bringing me a lot of joy. We just got back from being gone for 2 weeks, and even with my little girl got sick like the day after we got to California, and that was a little bit of a bummer. But towards the end, we got to go to one of my favorite places in the world, it's a place called Morro Bay, and it's where I proposed to my wife, and we got to go hang there, and that was just so fulfilling. And also just hanging with my community, and also golf. So those would be my things right current status. If you ask me in the winter, it'd be snow skiing, but there's still some snow on the West Coast, but I'm not going to be able to touch it for the rest of the year. So.
That is fantastic. We've got Father's Day coming up right around the corner here. What does it mean to you to be a dad, and what do you think makes a good dad?
I think that the number one thing that I get is just, like, such a sense of responsibility to just be, the best dad I can be, the best father I can be, the best representation of what I feel like the Lord has shown me. And also that my dad has shown me here on this earth. And I feel like my dad has been a pretty amazing father to me. And I just really would love to replicate that to my kids. And for me, that responsibility and also just love. I just feel like I just want to love them well and show them the love that the Lord has shown us. And there's a boatload that goes along with that I could probably talk about for an hour, but those would be the first couple things that come to my mind.
Oh, I love it so much. And what are you looking forward to this summer, Jordan?
Oh, gosh. This summer is pretty chill, like schedule-wise for me. I think we only have like 14 shows from now until the end of September. So I'm going to be riding a little bit, but honestly, probably be kayaking a lot this summer.
Oh.
And we're going to try to, make it down to the beach in Florida, which is the closest beach to us a couple times, and hanging in the pool and just kicking it as a family and kicking it with friends and grilling and chilling. Let's go.
What's your pool move? I mean, when when I was a kid and when my kids were younger, I was still doing the cannonballs. I wasn't afraid,
Yes, I would say mine was always a backflip.
Dude, can you still do that?
Man, I tried like maybe 2 years ago and I kind of got it, but I kind of didn't. You know what I mean?
Almost nailed it. He's the coolest dad in the pool, and he's singing the coolest song on the radio. Jordan Feliz, thank you so much for being with us on Spirit 105.3.
Oh my gosh, thank you. Thank you for having me. And thank you so much for being so chill about rescheduling. Did you hear why I missed my other one?
I did, and I wanted to ask you about your dad, and I'm like, I don't know if it's private. We got word that he fell off a ladder. So how is your dad doing?
He's doing a lot better. He just had orthopedic surgery last week. They had to put like a titanium stent in his arm and that goes into his wrist. So he's doing a lot better though, which is awesome. Thank you for asking. And I'm so sorry. Usually, it's like even under pressure, I would have made the call, but it happened about an hour before. And then I got a call like 15 minutes before the interview from my mom, and the doctor was in the room, and he was like really concerned about a couple things, and they were trying to do MRIs and CTs. And I was like, man, I don't think I can do this right now. So I just really appreciate you rescheduling with me.
Oh, absolutely. Do you mind talking about that for a second? Like in that moment when you get the phone call, Jordan, how does God comfort you and wrap his arms around you?
Yeah, I got the phone call, from my mom, and her and the doctor in the room, and my dad had this big fall off a ladder onto padded concrete, and he had something called a whiteout. So that was like a big, scary thing for the doctors to hear, because he also had a little bit of swelling on the top of his head, and they didn't know if that was just like a bump or if it was like brain trauma or just anything. So I think in the moment, just the biggest thing that I saw happen was just the amount of community that surrounded us in prayer in that moment. I don't really like posting, personal stuff on socials that much. But, that was one of those moments I just felt like the Lord was ask for prayer. So I did, and it was crazy. We just had hundreds of thousands of people within 10 minutes praying for my dad.
Wow.
And it was you could just kind of feel it, on the road. You could feel it. My mom could feel it while she was, sitting with my dad in the ER. And it was just one of those moments, real scary. We don't know what's going on inside internally, in your dad's brain or in his body right now. And to come back and him be like, listen, he's got, a broken wrist and a broken hand and a fracture in his arm. But other than that, he's great. It was kind of oh my goodness. It was the Lord just kind of being I got you. It was just so amazing. And just to see the community that we have in Christian music listeners and fans and people that are in Christian radio just come together and use the power of prayer. And that is just what I feel like God has really called us to be, the church,
Yes.
And that was being the church. And so it just felt so cool to see that come together.
The praises don't stop. To get back to your song, that just does my heart good to hear. That's so inspiring. And I guess, Jordan, you're doing the grilling on Father's Day then, because with his wrists and all, he needs to be sitting in a lazy boy.
Yeah, he's going to be chilling and I'm going to be grilling.
Jordan Feliz, you are an absolute joy. Please come back soon. We love you.
Deal. Love you guys. We'll talk soon.